Welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast, your Seahawks podcast. We used to say with a heavy dosage of X's and O's, didn't we, Griff? We're going to talk about Tyrice Knight today, the UTEP linebacker. We've got some good tape. I've been through all the Senior Bowl footage and, like an absolute maniac, have cut it up to be only Tyrice Knight reps. So you're going to get the whole shebang of him against that high level of competition that you want to see, given the guy came out of UTEP. Let me just check I've got the correct mic on. I do. Fantastic. Chat, apologies. The reason we're late is I had to get a coffee. It's good to see so many of you in here. Thank you for the thumbnail feedback. Mano Wargs. This is the feedback I got from someone else. The McDonald picture should not be in the thumbnail, and instead we should have the headshot and an overload patch balanced. Yeah, the kind of symmetry going on there. I think so. And then Fats, yeah, the amount of clickbait in the thumbnails could be accented a bit more, I think, yes.
Clickbait is important.
Really, Griff, we need to spend time doing like thumbnail reaction shots so that we can include ourselves in the thumbnail.
Yeah,
a lot of the pictures people take of the pod are like, you know, when we're recording, I'm like laughing at you while you're trying to make a serious point, or just you don't look like you're laughing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, you know, this is what it is.
There you go.
So
yeah, that is exactly right, Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pog face and red arrows everywhere. That's right.
Do you have a preamble topic?
Well, Brendan mentioned red arrows. Are you familiar with the red arrows?
No.
You're not? Buddy.
What does that even mean?
That is offensive.
What are you referring to?
They're the RAF, so the Royal Air Force. They're what would you call it? Their air display team, you know? No. They're like they do stunts. They like fly in formation, and you know.
So they're like our
tricks.
Blue Angels.
Yes, they're like the Blue Angels.
Nice. I wonder how far could you fly the length of the British Isle, the main one, the big one, north to south?
Oh, in one of those, I think pretty quick. Yeah.
Like in half an hour, maybe.
Yeah.
Or quicker.
Yeah, surely.
That's crazy.
Well, it's quite funny because a lot of the soccer teams, rather than like getting the train or like a bus coach, they will fly to the ground, even if it's like an hour's drive. They'll fly.
Really?
And it's like quite controversial, like environmentally.
Right.
Fats saying aerobatics. Yes, I think that is the correct term. And the Red Arrows had a unfortunate. There was a misconduct inquiry around them.
That sounds yikes.
Yeah, it was quite yikes. Anyway, but they look cool. So
they do look cool.
I remember them as a kid. Whenever it was, you know, the Queen had a thing on, they'd just fly over.
Yeah, nice. There go the Red Arrows.
Yep, there they go. Look at them go.
Well,
Concorde might turn up occasionally.
Well, one time, so the Blue Angels, when they come up here, they're like a 20-minute drive from where we are. One time, one of them circled around my mountain that I live on. This is when I was like in middle school, and I probably was.
You wave at them?
I mean, I could not have been more than 1,000 feet away from them. They were incredibly close. It was surreal too, because I wasn't expecting it. Here comes a fighter jet. All right.
The noise of fighter jets. I'm a big fan of the noise.
Yeah, they're cool. I mean, they're loud. All right. Hit it.
Confirmed loud.
Confirmed loud.
Wait, hang on. Before we hit it, there's no Seahawks news we need to cover, is there?
No, McDonald had a Adam Schefter.
Yeah, are we gonna talk
Nothing.
about it on the actual
No,
show?
he didn't really say anything.
Yeah, no, fine. Yeah. I'll hit it. Welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast, where Griffin and I are going to look at linebacker Tyrice Knight's tape, the UTEP fourth-round pick, who was the first pick of day 3 for the Seattle Seahawks of the 2024 NFL Draft. We're going to look at his Senior Bowl, and then we're going to argue about which college football game we should watch of Knight's. Now, this is the first pick, Griff, where, I mean, Pritchett was fairly inoffensive in the range it got, even though when we watched him, we didn't love what we were seeing necessarily, although, you know, you can see the vision for a day 3 pick. Knight, James we liked, Haynes we liked, Murphy we liked. Knight is the first pick of this series where we were less pumped about the selection. Infamously, Griff, you had an undrafted free agent grade on him, and you watched all the linebackers through, albeit not as perhaps in depth as an NFL department might. And you had him as your lowest ranked linebacker of those you'd watched.
Yeah, I watched 3 to 6 games on everyone. I watched 3 of him pre-draft. And then after they drafted him, I found 2 more games. I've watched 5 total. Am I maybe a little more generous than undrafted free agent? But I mean, I'm still thinking of like, this is, 5th, 6th, 7th rounder. But even so, I would have taken, whoa, my dog is opinionated.
Which dog is that? And actually, Griff, are you an independent analyst here, or are you actually, your strings being pulled by your dogs?
Like a Ratatouille situation. Well, but here's the thing.
That's the sequel.
Here's the thing. If my strings were being pulled, they would pull them to make me say that they're not. So, no, of course not. I'm not controlled by my dogs. But anyway, with Tyrice Knight, so like, yeah, I didn't like him very much. When I went back and watched him, it kind of confirmed the notion I'd formed pre-draft. But then what really kind of got my, the gears turning is when McDonald said what he says about him, like nose for the ball, really productive, stays square to the line of scrimmage, can diagnose and stuff. So I'm thinking like, okay, so I'm not going to pretend like I know more than Mike McDonald about linebackers. Of course not. But coaches rave about players that they take all the time, and we disagree with them all the time. So surely it's, it shouldn't preclude us from still thinking what we think. But for him to say what he said, in my mind is, even though I don't think very highly of him as a player, as a person, I'm sure he's great. What is the pitch though? Because surely they have a pitch internally, right, within the walls of the VMAC when they talk about him. So working back from the conclusion of them liking them, what I try to think about, what did they see that they like? And so my answer was, well, and we'll get into the tape more, but the scheme they used him in is a tough scheme. We've talked about this. A tough scheme, a scheme that's easy to be wrong in. And he has a lot of bad tape. But if you can find his good tape, that sample size isn't very large, but it's there. And maybe they just value what he did do well and think that they can grow from that. Traits wise, though, I mean, if you're going to take a guy who, it's like, well, he's raw, but we think we can mold with him. It's like, I get that, but there were still like 4 other guys available that fit that bill more so in my mind. So I do think that whatever that interview was they had with him, where he like supposedly went really well, they clearly think that there's something there that speaks to his coachability. That probably means in their mind, we can take his sample size of good plays and expand that more rapidly, more readily than maybe the other guys. Good sample size, because every linebacker, especially in day 3, is going to have a collection of plays that are good, collection of plays that are meaningless, and a collection of plays that are bad. So I don't know. I still don't think, even if he like gets himself together, so to speak, that the traits are such that I think it's more like competent starters, the absolute ceiling. But we're talking about a 4th round pick, right? So
Yeah. And on that subject, I think it's cool that Seattle, obviously, they missed out on Junior Colson. He went pick 69, I believe, to the Chargers. So round 3. And obviously, Seattle didn't have a pick until 81, where they got Christian Haynes. So they missed out on kind of the day 2 linebackers. And this was kind of their pick of the day 3 linebackers. They picked early. This is the guy that they wanted out of day 3. So that's a cool topic. I mean, I kind of, obviously also on stream, I had a reaction, which if I just bring up the live tweet from Wrong Opinion Man, friend of the show, with the username RIP Coverage Linebackers. My reaction wasn't quite like that when we were watching him live on stream together. Obviously, before Griff, you could join, but it was the Liberty game, and it was a bit rough. I didn't like what I was seeing from Knight. However, not to pat myself on the back too much, but before we'd heard from Mike McDonald, I felt the kind of way of talking yourself into Knight was obvious in that, he had those high tackle numbers. He was finding the football. He did stay square, and he wasn't afraid of contact. Now, you can have concerns over how sometimes he approaches contact. There's stuff he can work on in that sense. Maybe his ability to find the football in the NFL is impacted by not being able to line up at 3 yards from the line of scrimmage when doing it. Maybe the scheme in the NFL in some ways is easier. We don't know those things. But, there's obvious, when you're talking a day 3 pick and a day 3 linebacker, there's obviously going to be some deficiencies in their game. And the strengths of Knight are, you should focus on what a player can do, and there are still strengths to his game. And really, I think we would not be as well. We're not upset about this, but ultimately, the whole context of the Seattle linebacker situation is important. We don't treat Knight from unfairly just because of that. I mean, losing Jordan Brooks in free agency, who I think we both believe has all-pro potential, and replacing him with Tyrell Dodson, who is on a prove-it deal, and we don't really like what we've seen from him. And then Baker, who, again, is not really that Mike linebacker type, and just giving yourself less coverage ability in your second level, and certainly not a player on the Roquan Smith type level, which obviously massively took Baltimore's defense to a different level when he arrived in Baltimore compared to before they'd had him. Not having that means we view Seattle's linebacker position overall in a kind of upsetting way. And then Knight, as a day 3 pick, was he ever going to be the Mike type who could cover? No, probably not, right? I mean, we like Jordan McGee. He's a pure will type. Knight says he will start out at will, then he'll move into Mike. We'll see how that goes. But in theory, he has the body density, and just his kind of play style as well is more of a Mike. And there was Jalen Ford out of Texas, who maybe was the other candidate for that in day 3. But ultimately, Seattle picked their dude, and so that's cool. Now, now the Senior Bowl tape, on reflection, there's actually some more encouraging things. So what I'll do is I'll bring it up, and then you can pause me, Griff, when there's something that you want to talk about in it. Let me just adjust this. And chat, if you have any questions on this, please bring your questions in. You're joining us live. We appreciate that so much. And obviously for you to join live, you can make the show better by asking us on what we're not explaining better or whatnot. So Mano Wargs, interestingly, is this maybe also a previous year being better situation for Knight? Not exactly, because the previous year really, and I was interested in the previous year from him because he played more kind of down on the line of scrimmage as an edge player at times. And that reminded me, and it was kind of a lightning bulb moment when I kind of heard that maybe that could be he's taking on the Malik Harrison role in Baltimore, which was when they needed like an old school Sam linebacker. I think what Bruce Irvin did for Seattle, but a guy you could play your 3-4 base stuff with and comfortably drop into coverage. And then when you wanted to check from like an under front into an over front in base 3-4, you could move him off the football and put him as the the B gap bubble linebacker off the football. And so I wondered, maybe that's the vision with Knight, given his background as an outside backer. But I didn't really see better play or better situation necessarily. And then Monjumbo asking, why take a raw 24-year-old? Well, again, with Knight, and I think this is something I was thinking about this, Griff. I'm not going to attempt to get it right because I'll just butcher it. But basically in Moneyball, there's the whole thing where, just because someone looks funny when they're doing something they're good at, if they're good at the thing, then it shouldn't matter how they look. And ultimately, yeah, Knight does play high. Yeah, he does tackle high, but he did have a lot of tackles and he didn't get... Well, he does get moved around a bit at the line of scrimmage when he's high to the line. But ultimately, his tackling style, he was able to make it work. So, we can't get too caught up in it looking funny. But also, Monjumbo, this is a guy who's worked his way up from not being recruited, having to go to JUCO, going to UTEP, and then making it to the NFL as a 4th-round pick as a 24-year-old. Right. So maybe there is a development aspect that can exist here. Ultimately, also, as Griff said, McDonald praised his staying square, bringing thump at the point of attack, all of that type of stuff. But McDonald also mentioned his demeanor, where he really liked the person and the competitor when they brought him in for a visit. And though his demeanor is soft-spoken, McDonald thought he was a very clear communicator, and then just a guy throughout the process we really started to like. So maybe he has those intangibles as well to keep improving and learn the NFL stuff. And again, that's why, it's fun to talk draft and watch these players, but ultimately we don't have a clue because we don't get to talk to them. And the most important thing is the type of person they are, which is why they spend so long with these interviews. Griff, do you have any more non-tape thoughts, or should we roll it through?
No, I think we can jump into the tape now.
Yeah, so in the Indies, he kept falling over in day one, and a lot of the other linebackers didn't. The Indy period's always cool because they do a lot of kind of change in direction stuff. You can kind of see their ball skills. You also see how well, especially day one, they adapt to their new environment. They haven't played football for a while. They will have probably done some drills to prepare for it, I imagine. I don't know. Or they should have, right? But you get to see all types of stuff. This is a lot of kind of change of direction stuff, which is repping zone drops. You can see some of the slips here. Now, slips can happen because your footwork's not good, but it can also happen when you're outside of your frame. So here, that is too wide a step, and that is why you're slipping, because you're trying to take a really wide step and plant while you're outside of your frame. And, some of the other linebackers weren't slipping. The Notre Dame guy stood out to me. Go ahead, Griff.
I noticed on tape that when he's faced up with a running back in the hole, he would often slip when he would get shook and stuff. And I think that's him overstepping, over responding to the running back's jab step.
Yeah.
Two-way go situations weren't great. His tracking is okay when he can go and keep going and never have to break down, I thought. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. So while we're watching this as well, and this is just practicing setting up with the QB, they're doing a cover 2 drill right now where this is the middle run through, this is the curl. Ricardo asking, McDonald said that he wasn't asked to do certain things in his scheme and we can't downgrade him for that. What do you think he meant by that? Did his scheme not teach him to play zone coverage? When did McDonald say that, Ricardo? Was that on the radio? Because that's an interesting quote. I actually felt that the scheme asked him to do a fair few things. I mean, I guess not matching up like a quarter flat player, Griff, like handling weak choice, which McDonald's and they seem obsessed by.
Yeah, he's mentioned that a lot. McDonald has. There weren't a lot of like deep seam route assignments. You can't really hide linebackers against play action though, unless you're blitzing them. And there's kind of a diagnosed problem there, I thought, and that's something that I saw that kept cropping up. Like he was late to diagnose play action, and when McDonald said he was quick to diagnose, I'm just thinking like, well, where are those plays? Now, granted, he probably watched an extensive cut up of him that the scouts put together for him, but I found one example where he ends up giving up a reception, but the rep isn't that bad from him. Excuse me, against like a pistol play action, I think it was, that would translate to under center stuff, because obviously they'll see way more under center in the NFL than he did in college. But that was like the only morsel I could think of, like where there's a heartbeat, So
this is a good clip here because you see how high his butt is into contact. So here, really, you'd expect the butt to sink more, and then you could roll the hips through. But on that second, the tackle, he is so high. Like his helmet is at the helmet of a running back who's not a proper running back. Just basically standing up into the contact. Like here, there's no power behind his block destruction.
Yeah, I rarely ever
or pop.
I don't remember seeing him getting like knocked back ever. Not that you would expect too much of that from a linebacker against like a climbing guard, but.
And I think so much of that is just how he's never really sinking down into a football position on contact. Or maybe he just lacked, I'm not saying he's not trying, but I think maybe he just lacks the flexibility to put his butt down.
Yeah.
Okay, so now some coverage stuff, and I have to say the Senior Bowl was a bit more encouraging from a coverage aspect. Now, in Seattle, if you're starting off as a will, it does depend, but you're going to be playing more on running backs, more in the short side of the field, more on like a weak slot in like a zone type thing. If it comes to cover 3, again, it depends on your rotation, but generally you're going to be in a bit less space. But by being in less space, you might also be asked to match a guy out, as in on an out pattern.
So he's the strong hook here, the field hook.
Yeah, which is a more Mike type thing traditionally, right, Griff?
Right.
No, he's on the back here, so he's just a rat.
Okay, so it's cover 1.
So in the Senior Bowl practices, they're going to play cover 1, okay? They're going to play cover 3, and they'll play cover 2, which, they're not doing it too fancy. It's another rat play.
That is a great rep from the Will, though. Who's the Will? So the reason why I'm saying it's great is because they're like ratting the back. So if the running back goes to the right, Tyrice would take him. If he goes to the left, the Will would take him. So whoever gets pulled out of the hole, the remaining guy is now the rat, and he has to help leverage crossing routes with eyes on the quarterback. So he's getting all the way to the field dig route window. That's like KJ Wright stuff when they play cover 1 rat and cover 1 funnel.
KJ Wright stuff? Wow, that's high praise. So this is a strong hook rep.
So it's cover 3 zone. This is a great rep actually from Knight.
Yeah. So obviously in 7-on-7, it's pass, so you can cheat the drill slightly. But here it's cool how he immediately obviously sees pass, then eyes to his threats, which are this, but primarily this, number 2, and then this. And then he is able to shuffle, not crossing his feet, which gives him a control. So he's not overrunning the width of this route. He is trying to drop inside of this type of route and relate to this type of route. And then here he's kind of sets up with the receiver setting up and then melts underneath the play.
Yep. So he melts to 10 yards and drifts back to about 14, all the way to the boundary hash. So that's immaculate. That's it doesn't get much better than that for a strong hook player. He doesn't take the cheese, right? He's not following the drive route underneath.
Yeah. And it's also cool how at this point here, he with this guy underneath, there's a quick glance here to check if the ball's coming out, where the QB's looking, how long he's gonna wait on this. Just gathering information here while being in a very controlled position.
Yeah.
So here's a look at it from a different angle.
And like the utility of what he's doing is, well, he's just straight up denying the in-breaking route.
Yeah. So this is the type of stuff that there may have been flashes of it at UTEP, but at the Senior Bowl where the schemes are more watered down, you really get the essence of what a guy can do. So this is cover 2, but actually, it's like I think they bust it, or it's like invert or something. That's weird.
Yeah,
that's really weird. I don't know what this
he's
is.
the. I think he's the field curl zone, and then I think the safety or I don't know, man. That's strange.
Yeah, it's got to be a bust. Anyway, not much more to say about that one. Okay, so now the boundary hook player.
Okay, so cover 3.
So again, you get kind of a slip.
It's interesting how he almost like man turns with it.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's 7-on-7.
Yeah.
Just cheating the drill. But fine.
Yeah. Ali, no bark.
Ali likes the man turn. So again, a fine drop. QB looking downhill, holding your depth for this window and holding your width for that window. This is why the yeah, fine. Right, should we we should probably find some actual reps where there's an offensive line. Any questions here, chat? As as Griff is temporarily muted for dog-related purposes. So this is cover 2 where so we've got a deep half. We've got the pole here. He's running down the middle of the field to close that high hole. Basically, you might know as Tampa 2. And then we have the curl defenders here holding off the seam routes. So essentially on this job, his responsibility is to stop the inside receivers running into that deep middle and let these guys get wider over the top of the ones. Brendan asking, is the slipping overly wide base easy to coach out of a player? No, probably. well, it depends what stage they're at, right? At this point, maybe not. Yeah. Something to look for in the preseason, Brendan. If it's happening there, then I'd be concerned.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty cool rep because the threat to the biggest threat to the coverage right now is this guy, right? Because he's to the wide side, so there's more space to have to cover. So you'd open to the, and also I think this is a tight end, whereas this is a receiver, so you'd open to the most dangerous. So he's to the field, he's a receiver rather than a tight end, so we're opening to him. But when he gets to that depth where he feels he can get square up again, he sees the QB looking, the front hand come off the football, the throw being delivered in this vicinity. So then he finds that guy and he's over the top. So a fairly solid enough rep.
That's good overlap. Good cycling from one scene to the other.
Cover 3 again.
That is a good rep.
Similar type of deal where he is.
See, now what's significant about this one is that he has a normal split slot formation. The first one, they were in a tighter split, so I thought maybe that's why he didn't melt too far. Because we like it when the strong hook players don't melt too far past the NFL field hash. But this is a normal slot formation, and he sees the slot guy stem upward and inward underneath the flat player, and he still doesn't melt past the field hash. A lot of guys gain a lot of width when they see a normal split, like a wider split. But he sees him bend inward. He squares up right there, and then he gains a little more depth. That's honestly pretty nice.
Yeah, and I love
back under it to close.
Yeah, I love the. Yeah. I love the confidence from him to understand. I'm looking out here. He stemmed inside my reroute player, so I don't need to keep getting width. I can straighten up, and if I'm straightening up, well, what can I do? I can look back down at the QB. My hip doesn't need to be open. I can look back at the QB, check the ball's not coming out. Okay, QB's looking downhill kind of away from me, so I can just square up. I'm feeling the QB start looking at me. Why would he be looking to my inside? Well, this route's probably going to be bending. I haven't seen anything from over here, so I'm pretty sure that this inside release, which common inside release would be either to run a corner, or if the QB's looking now, he's taking his vision here, he's going to be throwing a crosser, which is a common inside release route. So yeah, that's again an intelligent, polished coverage rep. And this is the type of stuff that I'm kind of bummed I didn't see. I think I even went on a podcast and was like, I was not impressed by the Senior Bowl. These are the reps that I, for some reason, overlooked. I guess because there's some other things that I put maybe too much stock in, or I was kind of clouded by. But
well, it also makes me wonder of the five games I've watched, why didn't I see any of this in college? Now that also makes you think, well, maybe does this speak to how coachable he is? Maybe
yes,
right?
Yeah.
And it goes back to that interview. They think, okay, if we can get him in our room, then we think we can get him up to speed pretty quickly. And that was another observation I had about the UTEP defense. Overall, they did not seem like a well-coached unit. Not a very talented one unit either, but still not well coached.
So yeah, really cool look here, because you can see the QB looking downhill at the safety rotation, then away, and then as I get my eyes back to him, I feel him looking right downhill again. So I know that inside release is coming here.
Would like to see what he does though when like the number 3 is like hitching right in front of him.
Right.
Because that's
and I think when we get to I might not have even properly watched this 7-on-7 stuff, because as I said, 7-on-7, you know, the defense should win every time because there's no threat of run, there's no run pass conflict, there's none of that type of stuff. So we are putting a lot of stock right now into, well, we're not putting a lot of stock in that, but we just need to pump the brakes a bit, and understand that you know, this is easy in theory.
At least it shows that with a clean picture, he knows what he should be doing.
Yeah. So let's get through the 7-on-7 stuff, and let's actually get to some proper football. And immediately so this section is rundowns. So this is day one. So very early into the Senior Bowl practices. And, they're all geared up to play run. Their coaches probably told them, hey, look, this is the run portion. We're expecting run. So obviously the first play that the offense comes out for with Knight on the field is a play action with full flow towards him. So why that's relevant is I believe they're in man-to-man right here. Sorry for going back too far. So this dude is man on the tight end. We've got a post safety. We're man up here. And then we're most likely 3-on-2 on the running backs in pass coverage, meaning if this dude comes out my side, I'm going to take him. If this dude comes out, then I've got to take him. But most realistically, if it's routes, we'll just keep it basic. If it's like that, then I've got him, I'm the rat player. Which ties in nicely with my run fit, because right now, the Knight is most likely the turn back player if he gets full flow towards him, where he's going to hit that block with his right shoulder and turn back for the fast flow and the next available. But these three are playing together in run fit and pass coverage, which is the beauty of lever spill lever, or turn back, fast flow turn back, or whatever you want to call it. So him coming downhill like this isn't really an issue because his coverage allows him. Actually, it kind of is an issue because he doesn't pick up the. I guess he expects the safety to do that. But typically, you would expect him to go with this. Anyway, this isn't his assignment, but anyway. But you can tell how how much under center play action like this he's seen with full flow towards him. Probably not much in his college career. I know I was watching... I don't even know who is UNLV. Is that just Las Vegas? University of Las Vegas? I know they did some crazy things. There's who in the thumbnail, but they did like QB and then running back. That is not running back. But like two running back, like sidecar stuff, right? But the QB and the pistol.
Right.
But they didn't. There was not under center play action like this.
Right. Whoa there.
But you can see how he just looks a bit hesitant. Again, first rep. So now we've got him. So that play here, chat, is that is like it could be a Will, could be a Mike, depending on the defense. Right here in an over front, this in some defenses would be called a Will. In some defense, it would be called a Buck, and confusingly, in some defenses, it would be a Sam, but really, it's an outside linebacker. This would be because we've got an over front here, and in the defenses, then that would be the Sam, then that would be the Will, and it all depends. So. My point being, this is more kind of in space type assignment. He's to the boundary, but they're setting the strength to the tight end. So this is a role where I talked about Malik Harrison moving off the ball. This is the type of role that he may be in Seattle in year one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on this play, he's in the middle of the defense. So whatever way you want to look at this is a Mike because it's an over front again. We've got our... well, actually, I say it's a Mike. It probably is, but here's our strong safety. They're in nickel. So thinking about McDonald, this is, again, a similar look to what he'd run. Would the Mike be here, Griff?
Yeah.
You think?
I think so. Yep. Nickel Mike well. Yep.
Anyway. He's got the A gap because there's one back. They're in a closed single high defense, so they've got enough people in the box for the gaps. So B gap, A gap, play off the end. But one of us has the C, one of us has the 14, the D. So many. Fisk goes early there, right? That's.
Yeah.
Don't know if they
Maybe.
call it. Anyway, so generally, Knight was pretty good at finding the ball in this scrimmage. Generally, I mean, it's a very easy rep for him with the way Fisk gets into the backfield so fast.
And he's tracking the puller while he's falling back.
Yeah, because as we said, chat, he initially has this A gap, but they get, is it this guy pulls?
Yep.
So if that guy pulls, well, then we all need to fall back with it because that's the extra gap.
So it's 40 and 27 with a bracket on the guard.
Yeah. Yeah, because really, if they'd got this off right, it would be pull here. I'm going to turn that back, and we're going to flow to the football here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is maybe a guy who can help. And if you want to learn more about that chat, I would search on Twitter Vicing the Puller or Vice the Puller, VICE, or on the internet. Right, so here again, we got an over front. Now in base, McDonald doesn't run this as often, particularly to this. He'll run it against 12 personnel, but against 21 personnel, I form expect more of like an under front, more like 5 guys down at the line. But anyway, so here, turn back, spill, turn back, or lever, spill, lever. So if we get full flow towards us, I'm going to turn that back with my right shoulder. He's going to fast flow off me. I'm going to find the next available gap, but be aware of the open bubble. And then this is the extra dude.
It's a loaded box, so everyone gets to play fast, right? For every gap the offense forms, there's one defender. So it's 1-to-1.
So we do get full flow. That's a pretty good block destruction. It just cuts back, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean for Nick, kind of a nothing play, right? But I mean, he's doing his job.
Yeah, because his lever key is this guy, so he needs to stay outside of that so he can turn it back. It's messed up Senior Bowl execution, but again, this is stuff where, I mean, they probably install this in meetings on the morning of. I would like to know about that, but it's stuff he wouldn't have done in college and is picked up okay. But likewise, the offense they're going against, probably most of them wouldn't have done these types of things, so that's why it looks so bad.
Yikes.
What's yikes?
Well, this is kind of a yikes play from him. Kind of.
Yeah, does he think he's getting a sale route?
So he's protected because the weak number 1 is running across the field, right? So the corner can help robot.
Which he sees.
Yeah, but he's not. He's gaining way too much width to the boundary, and I don't know what he thinks he's doing.
Well, you would like him more
to be more down the hash, even down the college hash would make sense, and just kind of get eyes to the field.
Like the flip here is a bit weird.
Yeah. Just to help constrict the middle of the field because he doesn't necessarily know. There could be a lot of different route combinations off of that.
Right, like if it had been...
I mean, why is why is he melting that far to the boundary? He knows he
There's
knows,
only this guy.
yeah.
Yeah, because if we'd bent more here and we're suddenly flipping like that, it's a problem, isn't it? Sorry, I went too far there.
It's cover one.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, it's fine because his coverage is the running back. So
And his coverage is the back, so they're in cover one. They get an RPO play. So because they're gapped out, we have this guy and this guy playing off each other, but they're handling these two gaps. B gap, A gap, B gap, A gap, C gap. So what I like here is he recognizes guard pull and goes on a string with it. So, and kind of eyes to the running back as well, right? And he's going to flow along.
mm-hmm.
Recognizes that the ball's not in the belly, and about as good as you can do on that play. So remember, this is all the run portion right now. Good falling back with seeing the down block of the tackle and then seeing the puller and the ball path.
Yeah.
To spill that's interesting. They're like spilling and spilling. Which, like, again, so they get GU count or whatever you want to call it. And obviously they probably hadn't gone over how to play this, right?
Right, but still, if their mechanic is lever, spill, lever, he should be trying to get more width. But I think it just hits so hard so quickly.
Yeah, you'd think this guy spill, turn this back, he's making the tackle, right? Whereas if we spill and spill, then we have really far to run to the outside.
Because, yeah, it's too much for 8 to overlap like that.
Yeah.
So he just needs to stay outside of 5, basically.
Yeah. And he gets stuck to that.
But initially, I mean, he's doing the right thing.
Yep, good kind of finding the ball filtering, right? And I like the feet aren't crossing over, so there's a good shuffle down, then stick foot in the ground, able to redirect quickly, seamlessly, staying square again, which something McDonald obviously mentioned. I believe Schneider mentioned it when he's talking linebackers in general. This is this type of stuff from Rattler I was talking about, Griff, where he just straight up, I don't know what he was doing. What is he doing? Throw the ball. Throw the ball. Why? What is he doing?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I get it. It's an odd decision.
He does a lot of that. So here, he's kind of lost, isn't he? Now, are they in man? Because that would make some sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he has the back, right?
Yeah.
The back is his dude, and they did have a throwback screen off this. It looks like maybe eventually. So fine. Right. So pass down, Griff, the good stuff. In terms of we were concerned, and maybe we want to see, does what we saw in 7-7 translate into this?
Right.
Where they will do some play action and there will be a line. So that's cover one. So, or is it? Yeah, it is. It is. But the drop from that, Well, that is bizarre.
Well,
I
it
think
kind of looks like zone at the bottom. It looks like cover 3.
that's weird, isn't it?
Because why would the strong safety drop like that if it was man?
Yeah. Okay, so I guess good read in terms of seeing the QB set up quickly, so trying to push wide and flat.
Yeah,
It's kind of odd.
I don't know. I mean, he's kind of risking a lot if the tight end was going down the seam, right?
Yeah, like is this a read of? Yeah, that's an odd one.
Because
Anyway,
three isn't going to the flat; he's in the down. So I don't
no,
understand.
that was weird. Anyway, first play. So this is cover 1. I know it's a practice, but I would like him to actually run the pursuit angle here because he jogs and seeing his range would be cool, but also effort. Here he's just the rat defender, so call it a rat because you're looking for your scraps, you're looking for your shallow crosses, you're the rat in the hole, you're the low hole player. Okay, cover 3.
Okay.
Technically the weak hook, right?
Yep. So dropping to his number 2. It's a fine enough rep.
Fine, yeah.
Getting down.
I like how he holds off the 2. Good width relation, seeing the QB turn the shoulder's pointing. He's aware that there's a shallow route. He understands he can drive on this underneath route now because the ball's coming out. He's not taking the cheese and getting there early and vacating this window. He is relating to the QB.
Yep.
And that would be the whole point of cover 3. If the shallow gets thrown, we get the 2-on-1 bang.
Into the kill zone.
Yeah, and we actually get a pick, tips and overthrows. But part of the reason the pick happens is because he gets the drop straight back, but he holds off that route, and then the QB is probably aware. Well, no, the QB just not. The QB does okay. The guy just drops the football. But anyway, tips and overthrows. Cover 2. Fine. Cool that he recognizes the ball coming out fast, so he doesn't just drop like a moron. I mean, pretty obvious play. An okay rep to stay outside leverage on this guard. The hand placement isn't as good as it could be.
Yeah, it kind of slips up a little bit, but
And I don't know, it's touch contact. Does he make that tackle in a game?
he should. Right.
He should, but in that position there, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Because his really guys, he should be aiming right here with his hand, and he gets like the outside of that pad, so he doesn't play as long as maybe he could. And the feet into the contact are really poor. Like he is only just got his near foot in the ground when he's got his outside pad there, and his outside foot he's not able to brace or anything. So he's not going to get any knockback like that. He's sort of it's just not. There's no real strain or striking there. That's just kind of sticking an arm out to try and stay clean. But there's not. You're not going to destroy or really get off that block properly, and that's why he kind of gets stuck to it as well. Again, good flowing to the football though. Good recognizing of the play concept and gaining leverage on the guard again. Cover 2. again, another slip here, Griff. And you see, it's that
Yeah,
left
it's okay,
leg.
yeah.
I wonder what his injury history is. That left leg is overextended, hence the slip. It's outside of his frame. And so we require an extra step. Yeah, I hear you on that, Griff. And we should say, actually, on that guard rep we saw, that was something Jordan Brooks was hella good at, knocking the crap out of a guard in the B-gap bubble and winning to the ball and making the tackle. Brendan, you're saying it looks like it'd be tough to get a good tackle there. It would have with how Knight played it, but the best linebackers, that's kind of what they can do. Because if they can't, Shanahan will keep running wide zone at you.
Yeah.
And the way, what's he called, their left guard?
So this play isn't his fault, but in college, he rarely got to get vertical, even though he had TFLs. He rarely got, they were mostly like chasing things down in the flat, like behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
He rarely got to get vertical, like deep into the attacking the line of scrimmage in between the tackles because he played in a ball fitting scheme where they're out gapped and they have to play more conservative and laterally. So here he is playing with gap fits, 8-man spacing, one high, where he just gets to go because only has one gap he needs to worry about. Yeah, I mean it's really simple. It's probably one of the easiest ways to fit the run schematically, but he looks the part right there.
Yeah, because front side, you wanna make sure that you're getting not out leveraged by the back. You want to stay outside of it, right?
Yep.
One thing I'd say is he is quite fast into he's I think anxious about getting downhill to the play, but he's quite fast into the hole to the point that he's kind of out of control when he tries to break his feet down. There's a slight skid almost.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the left foot kind of wide.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a fine enough rep. Fisk does is that Fisk? Nice hold. Like clear hold. I mean, is there something to short arm defensive tackles not getting called for holding? A bit like how the short armed corners are allowed to be more grabby.
Could be.
Or it's just less obvious. Because it just looks like they're placing the hand rather than grabbing cloth.
Could be right. So what
Cover 3, RPO, guard pull. That's a tough one.
that is tough.
So guys, his gap is this B gap, but when the guard pulls, he's thinking I need to vice that. I'm getting a run action at the mesh. Really, that's the responsibility of these two. If we get an RPO to here, I like how he doesn't fully pull his trigger downhill though. He kind of understands something's up. I mean, if James had our guy James had tipped that football to him,
That's a great play.
yeah, except he didn't catch the ball, which was this is the issue with James at the Senior Bowl. Like he played really well, he just couldn't catch a cold. I caught a cold when I was in Mobile.
Should have had you in there, but he's all the way in front of that route. That's insane.
Oh yeah, he knows what's coming. Like mesh, okay, it's RPO, slant flat. Like what's the most common RPO? Get inside level and then bang. That's a nickel, man. Like he is running the route. Look at the angle he takes. Insane.
Yeah.
So many guys would make the tackle, and get the ball loose, but he's ahead of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, James pops on this tape.
Play action screen.
Nothing really to say there. Honors the play fake, sees it's a screen. Okay, so this is a potentially glitzy rep, although kind of shows he's not the fastest. But it's good recognition of what they're getting, right?
That's a good rep. We got a robot.
So Griff was hunting for this type of thing throughout the draft cycle, right?
Yep, roll over and find the cross. So it's under center play action. He's the field hook, right? So 2x2 formation, 2 receivers on each side of the ball. He finds like the high cross route from the week number 1. That's really impressive also that he doesn't bite on the little whip route. That's honestly a very good rep. He's pushing to the field immediately, rolls over, finds him, stays step for step. I mean, that is a good rep. That's a good rep. He clears. I mean, he reads play action really quick because the O-line does a horrible job of selling it, right?
Yeah, the O-line is absolutely abysmal here.
So he reads this. He reads this before the mesh even occurs between the quarterback.
You're not run blocking with your hat that high and you that flat.
Yeah.
Likewise here.
So he doesn't even need to see what the quarterback is doing. He knows it's play action. Like, look, he's backpedaling before the running back even met the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
But that's him using his indicators to his advantage, right?
Yeah, because a lot of these guys drilled down here on this type of stuff, but because he gets so much depth and the width to the field, as you say, he's almost thinking, oh, the route's gonna be here. I need to look for it here. And then he's like, well, hang on a second. Actually, because he's dropped so well, he's actually ahead of it, which is, you know, typically this guy would be here. But because he dropped so well, he's actually ahead of it, and he still finds it, and he's right there. So yeah, that's a very cool rep. He is kind of slow, but
well. So what do you think about the speed there, though? Do you think that he should?
He has good acceleration, but then there's a lack of gears that I think will. I mean, how many teams against? This is the thing. When I'm thinking for like downfield speed, that's when we get gun trips, right? And we get the speed at 3 and everything. When we get shotgun, how many teams actually ask their weak hook line guy to take that back take that down the field? And then on a similar subject, how many teams just play quarters in that situation? I think just teams. I think really the weak hook linebacker only applies on this type of stuff now.
Against under center play action where you can't really hide them.
Yeah, you need them for the run stuff. So then you got to do some of the pass stuff, please. And I mean, this is good. So
yeah, that's good right there. So Matty, so far, I mean, his Senior Bowl conflicts greatly with his college tape to me. I see a different player. Now, could that be because they're living in a gapped out world that kind of makes everything easier? And this is kind of like what the...
I think so. Now, this I hate how high... Look how high that is.
Yeah.
What? Like, you've done everything correct. Fucking... Sorry. Just run through his thigh pad.
The coach came out. Also, he's in the wrong gap, isn't he?
Yeah.
Not the A-gap player.
Nice trap, so I think it's actually a good read.
Oh, there's a pull. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, but I thought you thought he should be going over here. But I think this is a great read of like this and this and just dip him through.
Horizontally speaking, he should be. But
right.
He actually should go over the top. But he's just kind of reacting, so okay. But yeah, he's so high. I mean, he's not in a position to...
And that's the thing. Like, so many of his tackles in college, and they're around the chest, and it's like a roll tackle, which is great. But like an NFL back is not going to let you tackle them around the chest. They're going to dip. They're going to run behind their pads and run you the hell over. or they're even around the helmet, which is just you're gonna break your arm. But like I said, the Moneyball thing, if it looks funny and it works, then the important thing is working. I just question how often that works in the
Well,
NFL.
so
But
Matty, it goes back to his left foot placement when he slides because he's trying to lower his pad level because he's not sinking his butt. So he gains width with his feet to get his pads lower because he won't bend the knees as much.
right, because he needs to yeah, he
There's
needs
like,
to lean.
and then because of that, there's like no hip extension in his game, so he's not going to have stopping power in the NFL.
Fantastic point, Griff. So that's the thing. Like, he can be square at the point of contact. He can be solid. He can make a lot of tackles, but ultimately, he's not a thumper.
It's a weird dichotomy of traits, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird combination. That
so
said,
do you think So go ahead.
I was just gonna say that if I'm not like wildly impressed by a Senior Bowl, but I see like a solid foundation, if you will, and it conflicts greatly with this college tape. It gives me some pause, I will say. I'm not coping. I'm not saying, oh, he's actually secretly really good, but it makes me feel like, okay, there's a path toward maybe competence.
Do you think the linebacker coach in McDonald was like, I'm going to fix you? Like, you're so close to being...
You could be right.
Good, but I'm going to fix you.
Like
and I like you after our interviews.
Right. If I fix your fundamentals from the ground up.
Yeah. Like, if
he probably figures because they task him so much mentally with that college scheme. He probably figures he's so used to like having to account for so many things on the field that if I actually simplify that for him, he's going to be playing way faster. It's like you've got ankle weights on and you take the ankle weights off and you're running really fast type thing, but the mental side of the game,
Interesting. Okay, so here we get weak hook play versus play action full flow away. Now, as soon as you get full flow away, this is your threat, right? Like coming back along.
Yeah.
Although
is he the flat player though?
I wondered that. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so he's the 4 to the 4 to the 1, right? So really, it's like the back. I mean, he finds the back, so that's good. Like, you can't realistically ask him to get all the way out there with full flow away.
Right.
Or you could if you're playing like the 2013 Seahawks did. Griff, you better not have made a tweet about being radicalized or...
No, I'm not radicalized.
Okay, good.
Okay, so field strong hook here again. Well, no,
kind of weak.
Weak hook, my bad.
But kind of clunky.
He drops down his seam. That's fine. He likes to relate to the back a lot when they release in the down, like through the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, which that might be how UTEP did it, but
well, it definitely was actually. Now that you mentioned, totally hugging.
Yeah, and I think he's kind of getting sucked into that mode and that instinct, which in the NFL is not really that good an idea because you're, generally. I mean, where's the ball right now? Is it on the hash? Yeah. I mean, ball on hash, right? Your landmark in the NFL, and these are the college hashes, so ignore them. But your landmark in the NFL would be NFL hashes, right? Ball in the middle is 1 yard outside the hash, Griff. Ball on your hash, you'd be. Would you go 2 yards outside? Would you be like here?
Yeah, that's what the markups are, but like.
And then he'd be here, and obviously you have to relate to receivers.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like how tight he gets. Like, he is way... I know there's the back here, but the QB's looking away, I guess, but he is way tight. You would think here, like maintain leverage on your threat. Your help is here for that threat.
Yeah, that's a good point. He should
I
be.
mean, just and he should almost be, he should be about here at this point, depth wise, like
Yeah.
here.
If the running back went strong though, he'd be okay, because that would be the number 2 would kind of be his final 3 then.
Yeah, and I guess the back fake is to that direction strong. So anyway, there's a lot which goes into zone coverage. It can look simple, guys, but it's difficult, especially with these college schemes now, where I don't know how much of that type of zone stuff they ask their guys to do anymore.
This is a shaky play right here.
Yeah, they kind of false step backwards to get to the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that just doesn't feel linebackery, does it? It just feels off.
Hey, he falls back to it. If it looks weird, but it works.
Yeah.
So he's thinking here, guys. I'm in this A gap. We're getting duo.
Downhill duo.
Now this 3 tech does a pretty damn good job of. I mean, he gets moved a bit, but he doesn't. He gets moved laterally, and so it's up for Knight to make him correct. The way he does that though is odd. Chad, does he have an injury history with his left foot? That would be very useful if he does have an injury history there. Yeah, you can't run away from stuff.
I think he's just
come downhill, knock the crap out of this guy, and get to the football. Like filter down the line, 2-hand swipe to avoid him, and get to the football. It's that easy. Because if you do that in the NFL, you take that step backwards, this guy will come off that double and smack the crap out of you, like against that actual scheme, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, like here, you're dead. I'm amazed that didn't happen. Actually, I guess they're really trying to secure the first level stuff, and this is interesting. This is again a bit shaky. Where is duo?
He's fine here, I think.
Yeah, he's running quite wide, but
no, yeah, that is a little too wide. And he's a tick late too. He's just late enough for it to matter.
right.
But the tackle getting reached not reached, but knocked out of his gap is the main problem.
Turned, yeah. Oh, yeah. The B gap disappears. All right, 3rd down. So now more pass coverage again, even though we've just seen some good pass coverage. But you're going to get more gun drop back stuff is the idea of this one. Here's Rattler being a knob again.
Yeah, why is he doing this? Like,
the dude, he's like half his reps are like this.
Strange.
So I can run, guys. Like
I watched a different quarterback at.
To be fair, everyone is clamped up here, but like throw this on the run.
I mean, it's man, but
yeah, be a baller. I hate little point, and I saw this on his college tape a lot. If a guy is going outside, he will overrun the outside hip. So as the Seahawks designated, they're a near hip pursuit team. The near hip for him right now, as this QB runs outside, okay, they're in man coverage, but this guy is your help running the alley to the sideline. The near hip for me is Spencer Rattler's left hip, meaning I should pursue in relation to that near hip, but maybe because he's concerned about his speed, and we've got a red-shirted quarterback here, so we're not hitting him regardless, but As I said, in the college tape, it shows up too. Maybe it's because he's concerned about the speed. Maybe he just over pursues. Maybe it's because he's ahead in front of the body tackler sometimes, which we saw with the Utah safety, who I'm blanking on the name of when we're looking at pre-draft guys. Can't remember him. Anyway, he over pursues here. Like the near hip should be here. We're almost getting head up, but ultimately he cannot let that cut back on him like that. Would he have made that tackle in a game? No. Which ultimately, as the rat defender in cover one, everyone else is manned up. You are the spare guy on the QB. Sometimes you'll be designated as a spy, but he obviously wasn't here. But really, he has to make that play. He's not in a position to make the tackle here. Redshirt quarterback or not expecting a scramble or not. And it just ties in with the college stuff where I did see some over pursuit. Oh, we nearly got up. Dude, what? Did he think he was throwing back? What? Wrong route? Anyway, nice rolling over again. So
yeah, he's the front or the
strong hook.
Yeah, the strong hook.
So really, this route, guys, is the responsibility of this dude here.
Yeah.
And this dude's a bit lost, but he takes away the very. I mean, you don't throw first window, but he, there's an awareness from him of it. I don't know what that is from the offense, but anyway.
He could. I mean, if you're going to nitpick, both of the linebackers could have keyed that a little bit more quickly.
Yeah.
The line is not interested in selling the run at all.
No. Good RPO play. Oh no, it's not an RPO, it's just quick game, sucker. But good. QB opening away, so if QB's opening away and looking to throw quickly away from me, then I don't need to push for width. I just hold my depth, don't get depth. Mm-hmm. I don't need to get width, but I'm aware that, he could look backside and then I would expand or find the in from the in call and also scanning out here. So good job here. Here we need to be pushing flat because we're getting quick game to our side. But good read of the QB and what they're getting here from him generally. And breaks of the football. Again, I would like to see a finish of the play. Anyway, we don't get to see that. I also think, I wondered, how much did the linebacker indie drills actually help him? How much did he take that? You mentioned maybe being coachable. How much did that take that into the scrimmages?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing enough things right.
This is not a great... Well, it's a good example of how he's not... so this is his main move for trying to get rid of guys, right? He always likes a club rip, which again, if you're shorter, but you're not going to be very good at striking dudes, and you're also you're not very good at sinking, and you like getting wide with your foot, a club rip's probably the best move for you, right? Because you're going to step wide with your, the wide step anyway. You're going to club and you're going to, because you're shorter, you can still rip underneath, even if you're not sinking very well. But here he just doesn't connect with it and gets then that's that.
Yeah, it's a really ugly rep. It's I try not to be too judgmental when you have like a free downhill climber right on a guy. But
right, it's difficult, and they do make the tackle in the hole, so
That's rough, though.
Yeah.
He doesn't do himself any favors ultimately on that one.
Okay. Red Zone. Do you want to watch Red Zone stuff? Are you sick?
Sure.
Oh, here's an example of the tackling, guys. Long arms, but you can see how he'd be going for the kind of throw the guy down, roll with my whole body weight on him. It's not a hip drop tackle because he's not dropping his hip. He's literally gonna try and wrestle the guy. It just looks to me like an injury. Well, I don't want to say that, but it looks dangerous for his own health as well. Like, you rip your arm out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they bit here. This is not a good. I mean, yeah, it's not great.
Why is the quarterback not throwing the?
What, Spencer Rattler?
Yeah. Why is he not? Why is Rattler not snapping to that immediately?
I don't know, Griff. I did tell you he had a bad Senior Bowl.
He did.
But I don't. Does this screen play action to you, pass to you right now? I mean, that center's pretty high. I know we're keying the guard here, but through to the ball.
Well, is he thinking RPO though? I don't know.
Yeah. He's very unconventional. Again, no power behind that strike. Like, his hands are connected and his feet are out the ground. Like, that is not. Remember, we watched Mike Barrett, guys. We watched him before this.
Yeah.
And Griff's posted a clip of him, and I think I quote tweeted it saying it's teach tape, because it is. Like, he was so good at, as he struck the guy, his near foot would hit in the ground at the exact same time. He'd have his butt sunk to the ground, and his outside foot would be turned at a nice kind of almost 45-degree angle, bracing, and he would almost decleat guards. And he's not a big guy. It's a lot of the technique part of it, the pad level, your eyes below his brow, all that type of stuff. And here he is basically the same height as the guard, and he is just stabbing. I mean, he's just there's no power in his game. He's just trying to stay alive here by playing long, which also in the NFL against the longer teams is just not good. Like, OG3 asking, what team did Mike Barrett go to again?
Panthers.
Who's their DC? Is it still Evero?
Yeah.
Cool. Good for them.
Yeah. He'll probably end up starting too. Barrett will, looking at their depth chart.
Simon Song, is that a reason they think they can get more if they teach those details? Yeah, it's got to be, right? It's what we were saying earlier about how Mike McDonald's a former linebacker coach. He likes linebacker as a position. And he'll have looked at all of this and been like, look, he's still making plays despite not having these things. So what if we could unlock more of those things? And this is a guy who's worked his way up from being an unrecruited guy, been in JUCO, he's still been productive at college, and he's still been productive at the Senior Bowl, and he's improved each year. And I've spoke to him, and we've brought him in for a visit, and his demeanor's impressed me, and that is the vision. Like, well, he'll keep improving. And at the Senior Bowl, he's doing stuff which he wouldn't have done in college, and doing it, some of it really well, some of it obviously there's some difficulty. That's a bit better in terms of he actually has his feet in the ground on the contact. There's no knockback, but he has his feet in the ground on the contact, and then choppier steps. I think going left is a weakness for him.
You might be right. There might be something up there with that left foot not being able to brace the way he wants to. Or he could just be right-footed and has like an imbalance. Who knows? Like a strength imbalance or
Didn't
something.
play soccer, because if you play soccer, your plant foot is your left foot if you're right-footed.
Right. Yeah. Playing basketball growing up, you go up for a layup. I'm left-handed, so I plant off my right leg to go up my left hand.
Not you don't go up for a dunk.
Not in games. I've dunked before, but not in the
That's
game.
right. That's absolutely right. That's cool.
Yeah, slipping it. I mean, that's going to be something that he needs to work for it, to like speed rip and slip blocks.
That's cool. He loves getting wide with his left leg.
Yep, might as well use it to his advantage.
What? Okay, so finally one-on-ones. So first up, we're going to have him not blitz. It's going to be Trayvon Wallace blitzing. So there's not many of these one-on-ones. We're approaching the end of this video. But this is like blitz pickup for the back, and they've got the red shoots on the field to make sure that we don't get wide paths, to keep them in a tight area, to keep them confined. And then we've got two threats to make sure the back doesn't cheat the drill and has the scan for both of them. So again, it's quite wide. If we're thinking that coach is the QB, I mean, he moves the QB off the spot, and the back's kind of setting up to the left of the quarterback, isn't he? But loves like a jab step and like just a rip. You would like a club as well, but I guess the back's already kind of turned with the back has not really protected the QB. He's not gained leverage to stay square, thinking that's the quarterback. We probably need to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So exact same move. No club. I mean, he's not in the red shoot, so he knocks the red shoot because he's so wide. So... Okay, so this is the best angle we have of this. So we're covering the running back out of the backfield. Seattle's would be asked to do this quite a bit, right, Griff?
Yes,
We expect.
absolutely. Yep. Two-way goes are really tough routes to have. Handles this pretty well.
Yeah, the QB doesn't throw the ball, so that's always a good sign. Good patience at the top of the stem. Keeping light on his feet. Again, almost slipping with how wide he is with his left foot, but he's able to recover. Lucky at this point here, the backhand broke to the flat, because otherwise I think we're going to get a slip. But anyway. All right, different rep. So just, kind of a fake-ass route because of how wide that is, and then up the thing.
Yeah, that's something we've seen from McCaffrey, though, in the 49ers.
Right, because they run so much of I'm going to come here or here, then right. They have to keep them honest.
Angle, they'll set that up.
Again, so wide with the left leg, which means because he's so wide with the left leg, right? I mean, his stance is wide to start off with. Look how wide that is. You should always be within your frame. So the left foot should be here. Because he's so wide here, that means on this transition, rather than a shuffle to cut off and get hands on, like sliding out, he almost has to just turn and run with it. Really, this should be, at this point, it should be, and then a slide, and then a individual feet. Pick that right foot up and slide here. so that I'm top down on this hip. He's out of phase now. It's too late. The guy's out of his cylinder. And again, it's a lot of space, but he's just too wide with that. It's just too wide. Can't cover like that.
Yeah.
Now, someone who comes to mind in the Senior Bowl stuff, whenever I watch the running backs one-on-one with people, is Darius Leonard, or he's now Shaq Leonard, right? He was unreal against the running backs when I was there.
Really?
Unreal. Yeah. I was like, okay, this guy's not Seattle linebacker size and probably not a fit for what they were doing at the time. But you knew he was going to be pretty good just off that.
Not a great rep here. Again, it's tough though. You sympathize, but
Feet
he gets frozen.
Feet stop, yeah. This is his best rep, but I think he was kind of it's perfect because his right foot is kept active and he's able to plant off that.
Yeah.
And are you ready, Griff, for the last rep?
I'm ready.
Chat, are you ready for the last rep? Here we go. Oh.
Oof. Back hipping that though from the quarterback's kind of evil.
Disgusting. All right. So not much to take really from one-on-ones, but
yeah,
I think it's something he'll be expected to do in Seattle, and just passing the comments from McDonald about him picking up the wheel stuff in the OTAs and the rookie minicamp and stuff maybe would need some work there. But Griff, I mean, how do you feel after that Senior Bowl stuff? Not radicalized.
Excuse me, I'm not radicalized, but I definitely see a path toward like competence. I'm curious to see what his development arc looks like. The main things I'm looking for are kind of like the fundamentals with the footwork and the handwork. How does that catch up? I think he has a heartbeat in coverage. I don't think he's great. I think there's something there. Showed way more in the Senior Bowl than he showed at UTEP. Curious to see how that will translate. So I really want to see. I want to know what he does in like awkward situations in preseason, with like awkward two-way goes. What does his foot fire look like?
Which he'll get, right? He'll still get that in the preseason.
Yeah, because the D-line won't play super organized, right? In preseason, there'll be a lot of like different levels formed, right, where they're not all horizontally aligned with each other. And how does he react to those situations? So, yeah. How about you, though?
Yeah, I think similar. Someone I'm just so curious to see what he looks like after an off season of NFL coaching within a different scheme. And yeah, if he can improve on some of these things that we've just identified as being issues, which, they're obviously going to be coaching them. They're like linebacker fundamentals. Then could be interesting. They don't need him to be good, but if he were good, that would be a big help. It would be a big help.
Yeah.
Like the cool thing for him is, he's on a rookie contract, but also he has right now. There's no reason he can't take a job. Like there's nothing precluding him from beating out a Tyrell Dodson. The linebacker position is truly up for grabs. Whether it be Patrick O'Connell, John Rattigan, Dodson, or Tyrice Knight there. So, yeah, I'm intrigued to see him and what he can do.
Yep.
Anyway, chat, hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back Thursday night with a look at, I think we're going to do State of the Seahawks, how we feel about them in 2024. Maybe we'll ask you for some listener questions too, like maybe make it a bit of a mailbag one. Less long though, because we've almost gone an hour and 40 minutes here. Please do ask, if you've got any questions at the end, please do get them aren't asked, and we'll try and answer them. And follow the pod at Seattle Overload to know when we're going live. As I said, it will be Thursday this week, we expect. As Monjombo points out, Thursday is an OTA. Yes, in it. Yes, it is. So we'll be able to kind of overanalyze that a bit, look at the beat reporters' tweets and the videos, and hopefully some images from the team as well. Follow Griff at CMike's Spin Move. Follow me at Matty F Brown. If you haven't already, make sure you check out Griff on Hawk Blogger as well. We went on there on Sunday, and please do check out SeahawksOnTape.com, where I'm going to have a importance of the linebacker article out. I've also looked at man coverage and why it matters for Seattle and why Mike McDonald needs to stop the regression he experienced with it in Baltimore, along with some other good stuff too. Tim DeBoard asking, do Dodson and Knight share similar skill sets or share any similar traits? I think the main thing, Tim, is the body density is fairly similar, Griff. And do Dodson and Knight share similar skill sets?
I feel like Dodson just plays way more, like with a much lower center of gravity.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
I think he's maybe even slower in a straight line than Knight.
Yeah, but Dodson will hit people, Tim, whereas Knight just doesn't have that stopping power.
Dodson, honestly, is 2023 Bobby Wagner, in my opinion, which maybe a little faster coming downhill. But like if the edge play is good, like Dodson will thump and he'll be good against the run.
Monjombo, are there any NFL teams that use Bear as a base front? What do you mean by base? If you mean most used front, I don't think so. New England?
In terms of actual like base personnel, like when you've got 4 DBs out there, I mean, quite a few teams still, but it's just, people are only using base like 20 to 30% of the time now.
Did New England last year? They might have done.
I don't know. I mean, then even Fangio's using like tight, which is, a cousin, a brother or sister front to Bear. But
yeah, but no, basically Monjombo, no. There's so much nickel, there's so much 4-down nickel, and I think offenses are getting smart on how to beat that. So maybe watch this space regarding that. All right, thank you, everyone. Griff, any closing wisdom?
None whatsoever.
Oh, dear.